Okay, so we're getting all set to set up the live stream for today's service. Okay, so I got the all computers here. I set them both up, and I turn on the power on both computers. It'll take a second to warm up. These are fast. New Asus computers, they have a good fast speed. Okay, once the computers, you get the opening window up there, then you have to get to where you log in the PIN. And the PIN on both computers is 8761. That gets us in to the page where we can start to work on it. And the same thing goes for the second computer. I just click the mouse down here and then do the 8761, and now both computers are turned on. So the next step that I do is I go down here and I open up the Chrome browser. It's really the red, white, and blue, or red, green, and yellow circle. I open that up. That's the only browser that'll work with our programs. So I open up the browser, then I go up here and I click on Facebook. And I open up Facebook. Now this is the primary computer. This computer is the one that actually sends everything off to Facebook. This other computer is more of a monitor. We put a program on there, which I'll show in a minute. So we go in here, and this is Cheryl's page. If it ever gets lost, you would log into Facebook as Cheryl, and those passwords are all right here under the computer. But once you get it open on Cheryl's Facebook page, you go down here where it says Hope Lutheran Church, and you click on that. And then you get Hope's Facebook page. Now the next step that we have to do is we go down here where it says Live Broadcast. Okay? And just click on it once. And in a second it'll come up. Now you get this little dark screen on here. See, it's already picking up the other screen that's on over there. So you want to make sure that it's on use camera, which it is. Then you want to make sure that when you do that, that these pop up. We want to be on the Blackmagic as the camera and Blackmagic as a default microphone. That's important for the whole process. Now, the next step is to go up a little ways. Actually, the other one. We have to go over here to the other side. Before you can go live on Facebook, you have to put in a title. So the title is going to be Hope. Well, this is the title that we've chosen. Hope Lutheran Service. Oops, gotta spell it right. Hope Lutheran Service. Wait, I'm sorry. Hope Lutheran Church. Live stream service. That's what we are, the title of this broadcast. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to say something. So I would just say, we don't have the bulletin. I would just say what is this,
It's the 10th, and it's the Lenten service.
March 10th. March 10th, 2021, Lenten service. Okay, once that's done, you're actually all set to go live. When you're ready, you push this button down here and that'll take you live. But before we do that, the next step we have to go through is I've got this all up here. Okay, so as you can see right now, the main computer is all set to go on Facebook. Only thing holding it back is hitting that go live button. But before we do that, we have to get the other computer set up. And the other computer, I have to put the USB drive in there. And the USB drive has the PowerPoint presentation for tonight's service, which really includes mostly just the songs and a few preliminary messages for people to see while they're waiting for the service to start. So I put that in here. And when that loads, it's going to pop up and say it's ready. There we go. And then I look for this one that says the March 10th, 2021 Lenten service.
Oh,
Okay, now we have the drive open that has the PowerPoint presentation on it. Cheryl prepared this at home before tonight's service. And what I have to do is I just take, this is the one for March 10th, which is today, and then I take and I drag it off and put it on the desktop. Then I can go ahead and close this. I don't need it anymore. Then I can go and double click on this particular service and open up the PowerPoint presentation. So there's the presentation. Right now it's in the basic mode with showing the presentation. What I have to do is go down here. You following it? Okay. I go down here, and down there it's presenter mode. When I click on that little icon right next to the volume button, it'll change to the presentation mode. And what that is, it has a screen that'll be showing up presently on Facebook when I have it hooked up to live. But it also has the next screen that comes up afterwards, so I know what's coming up next. And then the rest of the presentation will just go one slide after the other through church. And I'll show you the next process there. So now that part's all set up. The next thing would be to turn on the camera. So now the next step, after we've got the first computer all set up and we have the PowerPoint presentation set up on the second computer, the next thing we'll do is set up the camera. So Cheryl's got the camera. It's stored underneath the tripod up front. So she's got the box, and now she's going to take the camera out of the box and get it set up.
okay. The first thing we have to do is put the battery in here. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's little wires at the top of the battery, and they go and match the little wires that are at the top here. If you put it in correctly, it clicks. If you don't put it in correctly, it doesn't click usually.
Okay.
So now that's set up. Then we come over here, and the tripod works like so. You have to open this thing here. It's a gate. Then you put the camera in there, and then you shut that. Now we're going to open that little door over there,
The window
The
monitor.
and we're going to stabilize the camera by using a bungee cord. I stick the bungee cord in this way. Oops, it came out.
Yeah.
And then we go down, and I continue around and hook it in here.
Just make sure the camera's
Now-
steady up there.
That makes the camera steady, but you got to make sure that you pull these forward. And at the top of the camera is the zoom on this side, so you don't want to have your thing, that's the zoom right there. And you don't want this to be on top of the zoom because it'll mess you up. And on this side, you want to be forward also. That stabilizes this camera. Okay. The next step is to plug, I'm going to do it the other way, so that we have to plug the Black Magic into the camera. Right here, there's a long, narrow one. There is a right side and a wrong side. The right side is the flat going backwards to the back, towards the back. And you put that in there.
Okay, so now it's all set to send its picture to the Black Magic.
Right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to test it by turning on the camera. To turn the camera on, there's a button in the middle at the top here, right here behind the
Blue strap.
bungee cord. So you push it forward. If you push it backward, you're just going to get screens to pick and show. So,
And so now you see we're getting a picture of the front of the church.
now you can look and see by turning on the right button, you can see that it's also on the computer.
Seeing that picture now showing up on the computer. I can make it large by you go down to the picture at the bottom, hit the arrows, and it makes it a more of a full screen picture. So there's a picture coming from the camera. Okay? The next thing that we have to do is the Black Magic is what really controls everything that goes out to Facebook. So there's two HDMI cords in the back. The one in slot number 1 is the camera, and slot number 2 is the second computer that has the PowerPoint presentation. All the buttons are preset on here for the most part, except for the 1 and 2. So what we're seeing right now on the screen is coming from the camera. If I hit button number 2, you get a picture from the other computer. And then if you want to do a picture in a picture, once we do this, then you go up here to, there's an area called picture in a picture off to the right at the top. You hit that on button, and then you look, and there it is. The picture from the camera is showing up on top of the picture from computer number 2.
Now do it the other way so we can see what happens.
So when we change from, let's say there's a song playing, that would be on here as showing up in the background. Okay, you want to click to a song? Okay. Okay, so there. So now we got the words to a song. That would be showing up on Facebook with the picture of the church up in the upper right-hand corner. Once the song is over and you want to go back to the service, you know, the pastor's going to give a sermon, or it's going to be a first lesson, Bible study lesson, then you just hit button number 1 on here, and it'll take you back towards just the stuff coming from the camera. And we just go back and forth. I leave it, sure, we might move around and focus on the pastor or focus on the choir when they're singing, but that's just moving the camera around. Then when the songs are over, we go back to the front of the church. When the song is coming up, I hit button number 2, and then I hit picture in a picture, and we get the words of the song and a picture of the church in the background. That's once we go live. Okay, so now we got the camera set up, we got the computers all set up to go. The next thing we want to do is get the sound ready to go. So to get the sound ready, we just go down here and we turn the power button on this amplifier.
I need to see the power button.
Power button is right here. It's the only button on the front, all the way at the corner,
I see it now.
okay?
Okay.
So we turn that on. You'll see the green light's on, so it's on. Okay. Then, once I've turned the amplifier on, we have this wonderful music system, or I guess I don't know what it's called. It's a mixer.
Mixer,
Sound
yeah.
system, a mixer, whatever. And all the microphones and the music from the organ, piano, all come through here. And through the speakers in the church, but then also the little settings I'm going to adjust will make sure that it goes onto Facebook with the rest of the camera shots. So we just take the cover off, fold it up, stick it here in the corner. Most of the buttons on here, you can see most of these buttons are all preset. And when I turn it on, they're going to go to their preset locations. So I don't have to mess with any of these buttons on here. What I do is there's a button back here, right there, if you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the power button. I turn that on. And once that goes on, I wait till it starts to, it's loading and getting ready now. So you saw all the lights light up, and these lights that are dark, or the buttons that are dark, those are because they're not muted. And it says right here, the pulpit, the altar, the organ, there's 2 for the organ. So those buttons are all dark because they're not muted. The other buttons are all on mute because we don't really use them at the present time. The other thing that I do, then the next thing I'll do is I'll change this. Right now it's on group. I changed it to business 1 through 8. And that brought this button up to where it's supposed to be. I don't have to do anything except push that button. And the next thing that I do, this one button I have to do manually. And that one I push up to about 3/4, I would say. Right about where that first big square box comes up. Okay? That's the last button. That's the main button, it says. Okay? The next thing I do is I go up here and I push the view button. So I got the view button. That's lit up. Then I go up to where it says page select. And I hit one time to the yes side of it, or the arrow to the right. That's the select button. Okay? Mm-hmm. Then I want to get it down to where it says Hope Revised. Okay. Okay, I guess. So I turn this knob.
I gotta see the knobs then.
The very first knob, you can just see it. I go from Hope to Hope Livestream to Hope Revised. And then when I get it turned down to Hope Revised, I push the button down. And then it says, do you want to load that scene, the Hope Revised scene? And you can say no or yes. I go to these buttons that say no or yes, and I say yes, okay. And everything else is preset and does what it's supposed to do. The only things we had to do are what I just described. Now we should be all set for the service.